Hi, I'm Scott Campbell with Solve3D.
And I'm Kevin Miller at Solve3D.
Kevin, in the last video, you walked us through the different data types for Encompass projects, both the required data types and the optional data types. And you mentioned that a typical sensor does not provide you with those files, and we've got to convert them. So my question is, how do we go about converting the data types into something that Encompass can use?
Yeah, so in some cases you might be lucky and you have all the types that we require exactly for Encompass. But in some cases, like what we're looking at here, we have an Applanix TIMS TSP export. You may have a different file structure than what we're expecting. So the first step that I usually tell people is to start kind of browsing through your folder structure and start looking for and making a list of those, a checklist, if you will, of all the types that you might have. So in this case, we see a couple subfolders. We'll just go into this first one. If we dive down, we can see that we have an LAZ file. So we're going to have to convert that into an LAS file. And if we go back up a directory under this TCC folder, we have a TXT file. We'll just open that up. We can see that we have some XYZ information and some orientation information. However, it's not in the Encompass format, so we're going to have to convert that as well. And we're just looking for the panoramics now. I suspect they're in this folder. Yep, here they are. So here's the individual panoramic data that was out of the Ladybug sensor. So let's start converting. So if we go into solve the engine, we're going to start converting the point cloud first. And we saw that it was in LAZ format. So engine has a search function. We can just search for LAZ to LAS. Select our input file. So we're going to select that LAZ folder. If you have more than one file, you may want to do batch mode and select the entire folder. But in this case, we just have one. So we're going to select that LAZ, and you see it automatically selects the LAS for us. We're just going to hit execute. Execute. And this only takes a few seconds or minutes, depending on the size of your file. There. Okay.
And
Yep,
we're
there we
done.
go.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're done. Yep. So let's just exit that. So now back in our directory, we can just double check that it worked. We see the
And there it
LAS
is.
file.
Yep.
So again, we'll do the same thing to that TXT file that we saw. In this case, it's called area.txt. Some other sensors, if you're dealing with Trimble or Regal or something, there's going to be other file formats. So um, what we can do, if we want a list of them, if you search for the panoramic orientation to solve CSV function, I'll just quickly open the help to show you here. There are some examples of other sensors here and the expected file name that they may produce. So here we're looking at the area EO file, but if you're looking at other sensors, you might be looking for these types of files.
That's a
So,
good tip. Yeah. So if you're
yep.
stuck looking for, want to know what you're looking for, just pop into the help and see those file names and formats. Yep.
So back to the thing, I've just clicked on it and added it to my operation area. I'm going to go browse and go find that TCC folder again, find that area EO file, and then you have to select an output file. So in this case, I'm just going to call this encompass.csv, make sure it's a CSV file, and hit execute. So Engine's going to automatically detect that it's a TIMS CSV file format and convert it into the Encompass style format. So there's a few logs here of all the files that it found. You can just hit execute or exit here. And now if I go back to my directory structure, you can see that if I open this CSV file, you can see now it has that expected file name XYZ roll pitch yaw columns as we're expecting.
Okay, great. So we started with sensor data and we converted an LAZ file into LAS, which can be consumed by Encompass. And then we took the camera position data file, which was a TXT with different headers, and had Engine convert that into a CSV file, which Encompass can also now understand. So the next step would be for us to create a project and upload this data set into that project, and we'll do that in the next video. Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.